Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Aquarian Mind podcast. Today's podcast, episode number 314. I'm your host, Jamel Crothers. It's Wednesday Motivation Inspiration, and today, it's going to be a good one. Here's why. Because there's a few weeks left in the year, and that is the topic of discussion for today. So, let's get into it. I need to ask you an important question. What are you planning to accomplish as far as your goals in the last few weeks of the year? I ask this because, the holidays are coming up. Whether you celebrate Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, Christmas, New Year's, there's a lot going on around you right now. Shopping, for gifts, probably birthday celebrations. I don't know about weddings. I know weddings are big during the summer, but I guess that's changing, in this world. So maybe there are destination weddings that you may have to attend on like a nice tropical island. That's nice. If you live in a cold state, why not? Anyway. What do you plan on doing for yourself for the last few weeks of the year? What are your goals? What have you accomplished this year? Have you taken time to reflect on a year of growth, a year of learning, a year of experiences? What has brought you joy this year? What has brought you happiness? What is going to continue to bring you that joy and happiness? What people do you really need to let go of and get rid of in your life that you keep holding on to? Because I know people in my life that, they need to let go of certain people. How many people have you allowed to get away with things this year? Yeah, that's a big one. Right? Are you fulfilling yourself mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically? Because all four are needed to have a reasonably good, joyous, happy life. So the last few weeks of the year, I need you to hone in and focus and get things done. For me, it's going to be book promotions for me, continuing to record these podcasts for sure. And there are going to be a few podcasts left in the year. After today, there will be only 10 podcasts left for the year. So I'm going to be making a lot of content that is worthwhile and it's fulfilling and it makes you think a little bit, because that's the whole point of my podcast, is to not only share my journey as a writer and an author, but it's also to get you to think about yourself, to think about your life, to think about what's important to you. I don't like making this podcast about me. I like to motivate, I like to inspire, I like to push people to be the best. And that is my intention. So there isn't much time left. Today is Wednesday, November 8th, as you are listening to this podcast. Now, if you're listening to this podcast at a later date, that's a different story. I know that I've accomplished a good amount this year. I will have accomplished publishing 12 books in 1 year for the second year in a row, by the graces of God. And I wrote a 12-book series. And like I've said in previous podcasts, I will never be doing that again. That is a no-no. It is mentally draining, along with emotionally draining. The last few weeks of this year, you need to make it the best few weeks of the year. So, if you're not satisfied with certain aspects of your life, whether it's your job, whether it's people in your life, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a marriage. Do you really want to carry that into 2024? I don't think so. I know for me, I'm not carrying certain things into 2024. Now, last year I did let go of two friends that I was friends with for a very long time. One for over 20 years and one for about 6 years. And I feel better. Now this year I don't really have a list or any people that I plan on letting go out of my life. So I guess that's a good thing, right? But for you, there might be people that are dead weight to you. They don't motivate you. They don't inspire you. They bring a lot of negativity to your life. They're Debbie Downers. They're always complaining. And remember, life is a transfer of energy. So their energy becomes your energy. And then guess what? You're down in the dumps. And then they're feeling perfectly fine after a while. You don't need that. And I don't care who it is in your life. It can be a parent, it can be a brother, it can be a sister, an aunt, an uncle, a friend, a coworker, an acquaintance, your significant other, whoever it is. It's time to have that conversation with them and say, look, I can't do this negative energy. You've got to get your life together. You've got to figure it out. And you've got to help yourself. Because I can't help you unless you're willing to help yourself. And a few years ago, well, I had to let go of a person who was in my life on a regular basis. And I said, nope, this is not going to work anymore. So it's time for you to, figure out what works for you and what doesn't anymore. And I've had to tell some people about themselves, lately to reel them back in and say, this is not going to work for me. And this is not how I operate. It's okay. People will adjust or they won't. And that means that they can't stay in your life, right? So that's important. So let's make sure that these last few weeks of the year are important important for you, not for everyone else. Don't worry about the Christmas shopping. Don't worry about buying gifts and doing all that stuff. Materialism and capitalism is surely one thing that isn't the greatest. Now, capitalism obviously has its good and its bad and its ugly, but that's not what this podcast is about. So, to wrap this up, take some time for yourself. Turn off the world, and that means all the noise pollution. The phones, the iPads, the tablets, the televisions, the video game systems, the people that are around you, and take some time to think and reflect on what do you want for yourself these last few weeks of the year, so when you start next year, you're in a good place mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. If you want to start something, start it now so you get into the habit of doing it so it rolls into next year. Please don't do I'm going to wait till January 1st. That is the gateway to not continuing something that you really want to do or something that you really need to do for yourself that's going to benefit you in the long run. I'm not with the New Year's resolutions. I am about short-term and long-term goals. And I want you to get in the mindset of having those things. There's nothing wrong with starting something now and it continuing into next year. That's a beautiful thing because it's getting your mind prepared for all that's to come. And whatever challenges and hurdles that you've had to jump this year, I'm happy for you and I commend you. And I want you to continue to challenge yourself to continue to jump those hurdles. So, with that said, that's my podcast for today, guys. I thank you for listening. As always, the podcast is the AquarianMindPodcast.com. You can listen to my podcast there. And if you are on any of the other platforms, which is Apple or Spotify or anything else, feel free to stay there if you'd like. And thank you for listening. Have a good week. Be good and go accomplish your goals.